This is one of my favorite interviews. Joe Gallenberger, he's the author of Liquid Luck and Inner Vegas, How to Create What You Want in Your Life.
We can create particular outcomes in Las Vegas on slot machines or on dice tables. I've seen people win the major lottery, usually from a place of love. The one I know best is a person who fell in love with a woman who lived in Japan, and he was in Ohio, and he said, "Give me your address. I'm going to win the lottery this weekend. Come get you." And he did. I think they had won $21 million. That was cool.
Joe Gallenberger, PhD, has been a successful clinical psychologist for 30 years. In demand internationally as a psychokinesis, and this is PK, the process of using the mind with no physical intervention to manipulate physical objects, manifestation workshop provider. We've talked to Joe before. When you've dealt with people before and you've taken them to Vegas to actually experience how this works, can you share one of the most maybe compelling stories from that experience?
We have done 77 workshops, so lots of stories. I think I was just one of my own after working all day. Wanted to just kick back and relax, so I sort of hid back in the casino somewhere, but some of the group members found me, and my goal was to get a royal flush in hearts as confirmation that the energy of an open heart is the way to go with this. And, I had a second I could have said, "Oh, could you leave me alone? I worked all day," to sure sit down but not mean it. Instead, I opened my heart immediately. They sat down, and the next poll we got the royal flush in hearts, 160,000 to 1 by chance. And on a dollar bet paid around $4,300, which was nice.
So like $1 billion, small change, huh?
Yeah, that's easy. No big change of lifestyle, just nice and sweet.
I think some of us are intimidated by this. It's like, oh, I can't. And that immediately stops it. How do you get out of that intimidated and kind of scared and insecure? How do you shift that behavior, that pattern, that energy into something where people feel jazzed and just invigorated and enthusiastic and unstoppable? How do you shift that energy?
We're looking at that energy of boundless love. The thing that tends to cloud that would be fear, as you've mentioned, either limiting belief type of fear expressions such as nothing good comes easy, I don't deserve it, or emotional states of tension and things. And so we use a meditation technology on exercises like Healing Heart and Abundant Heart to move a person, kind of slide under all of that, relax very deeply, get into the present moment, get grounded with the earth, connected with spirit, and then opening their hearts full wide. And when they do that, that's where the wonderful feelings come in. So I got an email this week, somebody who did Healing Heart. I think he got this exercise because he's already had 5 bypasses at the age of 46. And he describes, says, doing that this afternoon for the first time, I felt greatly expanding love pour through me. And he focused on one of the family members. He felt that the energy went to them as well for healing others. Then he went over to a supermarket where he shops and just felt giddy, really with love to spread all over the place, is how he put it. So it would have been a good day for him to buy a lottery ticket.
When people see results with their health, how does that make you feel? Is this something you expected when you first got into this?
Yes, it was part of the plan, and it makes me feel absolutely wonderful. I love to hear stories of healing. Not a substitute for traditional medical care. I'm sure it was good for him to have the bypasses there, but even the first time I did Healing Heart with an audience, person who had heart surgery raised their hand right after and said their heartbeat had been all thready and uncertain feeling since the surgery, and it felt really strong after the meditation. And that makes me glow inside to know we're miracle workers, we can help our own health, we can help others, and create abundance in the world in all kinds of friendships and opportunities, creativity, spiritual experiences, all kinds of things besides just money.
I want to talk about the psychokinesis because I think a lot of people are fascinated with this, about seeing that it really is legit and you can do it and you can affect the manifest plane with your thoughts. I think, people saw Uri Geller and thought, oh yeah, that was faked, and it isn't. It's real. I've been in spoon bending classes where you just go and that group energy almost does the work for you, because I remembered the first time I tried it, maybe 15, 20 years ago. I was in a class and they said, here, focus, and you feel it getting warm, and all of a sudden it's the spoon is bent and you're going, I didn't do anything. And yet you did. And that part, what do you do when you're demonstrating or working? Because it says you've done this and had it tested in laboratories. So it's something that people do see and there is a concrete result. What are you doing?
Yes. So, it's kind of almost two parts. In the laboratory, if I'm a subject, there's very, very careful controls. It's usually actually kind of boring. They'll do a task to affect a machine, say 100 trials, 15 minutes or 15 seconds, leave it alone, 15 seconds, make it go PK, make it jump on and off with perhaps 120 lead EEG on your head, so they're measuring your brain waves and things like that. So it's kind of sterile. What I do in my classes out in Las Vegas and in at Monroe Institute through my home study is to get people very excited about this, show it's possible, show them some examples, say, of metal bent with psychokinetic energy. Let them know that it looks different under electron microscope than if you bent it by force. And when people are excited and have meditated a bit to raise energy, we let them have at it. So in groups up at Monroe now, often we'll get 95 to 100% of people being able to do this. Home study results about the same. It's, to me, a very natural ability, but I don't know if I ever mentioned this on your show before, but let's say going to sleep is natural, but if you said, I'll give you $20 million if you fall asleep in the next 20 minutes in front of an audience of 1 million people, most people couldn't do it, right?
Yeah, that's the intimidation
you'd be a little
factor.
self-conscious.
Uh-oh.
So
yeah.
you're trying to get into a very easy, natural, relaxed state, and we found over the years the most positive psychological, spiritual energy is the energy of love to do that, the most powerful one, too. We can create particular outcomes in Las Vegas on slot machines or on dice tables. I've seen people win the major lottery, usually from a place of love. The one I know best is a person who fell in love with a woman who lived in Japan, and he was in Ohio, and he said, give me your address. I'm going to win the lottery this weekend. Come get you. And he did. Knocked on her door in Japan, and I think they had won $21 million. That was cool. But one of the challenges of the Big Lotto is that PK, when we do it as a group, we want good coherence. We're all focused on the same thing, the same target. And in the lottery, you have millions of people. One person might need a new kidney. Somebody wants to send their kids through school. Somebody wants charity. To help charities, all kinds of different motivations, and they're all thinking different numbers. If everybody in the United States today picked the same number and focused on it, I would really bet strongly that's the number that would come in. We've even seen that in the smaller, like pick threes. 9/11 came in a lot after the events in New York, in the New York system, from what I've heard. So the first challenge with the big lottery is probably better to use intuition than psychokinesis, because there's going to be so many people pushing different numbers there.
When I've seen some of the reports on this recently, and they're saying, don't pick your own, just go with what the computer generates.
Yeah, and I don't know if I'd agree with them. I think it's fun to pick numbers associated, say, with grandchildren's birth dates, things that would open your heart. Personally, I think that's a better way to go. It can generate some thoughts, too, about what would I really, really love to do on our meditation, Abundant Heart. After opening the heart, the first thing we do is say, what does your heart really want? And when people do that, oftentimes it's not around money, not particularly these kind of quantities, but around creating more justice in the world or easing pain in some way for other people, different things. And if you put your passion behind that, coupled with creativity, and if it's something the world needs, often it does bring great wealth rather than through a lottery, through, now with the Internet being the way it is, people become overnight millionaires and tens of millionaires because they've brought something on board to the planet that people wanted and needed. And so I would use this also as a time to stimulate your own creativity of, is there a way that I could get great wealth if that's what you'd like, and at the same time bring something of great value to other people? And I think there's great power in doing that.
What's so funny, because when I was doing that, you're saying visualize what you really want. It was like, oh my gosh, this wasn't even on the table until I started thinking about this and working with it. And I came up with something completely, it's been at the back of my mind, but I came up with this plan that I keep going back to and thinking, I don't know how I could ever do it, of creating like an oasis, something that is away from the day-to-day 9 to 5, where it's almost like an adult daycare, a camp where you go and you're a kid again. You get to explore things that bring your heart to the equation and let you experience the world that we're living in that's fastly disappearing in front of us, so that there's that, rejuvenation for nature and for spirit and for downtime as part of our own connect with the heart. And I thought, where the heck am I doing that in my life? Because all of a sudden I've got this visualization of, well, this would be so fun. And, I guess the dots will connect because you let go of it. But it was that thing of, well, good grief, I didn't expect this.
I talk about it as a kind of an adult consciousness spa, to really, we need that nowadays to refresh, because it's a pretty fast-paced world and we're under stress and things. So I'd say, Wendy, go for it.
Thank you. I've got the place picked out. It's only $4 million.
Okay, good.
Yeah, well, that was 2 or 3 years ago when I found the price. I'm like, well, okie doke, back burner. But at the same time, this is the kind of stuff I think with your process and your visualization techniques, there are other things in my life that have become manifest as a result of saying, well, that's not difficult. I could just do this. And I make one little step at a time. And as I'm doing that, I'm giving myself permission to let go of my limitations in my own. That's how I believe it.
Yes, I think that's a good way of putting it. You move forward often in things that the universe would really like to help you bring into reality. People are shown one step at a time, but taking one step a day toward it, you get there.
What I also like is your use of energy buddies. You talk about that in Inner Vegas and saying you have somebody who, is around you. And I think this is incredibly important throughout our lives, that when we are around people who are constant naysayers and constant, no, you can't, why, that like Eeyore. No. Even though Eeyore's community never let him down. Okay, Eeyore, what do you say today? All right, let's get over it. But that is an energy that really can be a disruptor as you're trying to manifest a world where you see the abundance as your birthright, as a thing that is actually part of being here. And somebody around you all the time who discounts that can be a real fly in the ointment or, sticky wicket.
So we developed that way of thinking, we're going out to Vegas and we're using the casino as classroom. And for many people, they'd never been there because we attract energy workers and Qigong masters and all kinds of folks. Much like swimming, it would be good swimming in new energy waters to have a buddy system. And it turned out to be really enjoyed. We pick the buddy for people intuitively. They may never have met before. And often they become best of friends. And they're there and they can support each other. In our culture, it's funny, like even being lucky, when people say, gee, I'd really like to be lucky tonight and win that lottery. Well, in their life, they may have heard phrases like, oh, they're just lucky, as a way to put somebody down who may have worked hard to get where they were. So to have somebody you could actually say, like an energy buddy to, I am darn lucky, and the person says, congratulations, and really means it, and is really on your side. on that is powerful, because we want, we're social creatures. We want our tribe to like us. So if we have any glitches in that inside about how it really would be to be terrifically lucky, that somehow it's, nothing good comes easy, easy come, easy go, all kinds of thoughts might come about luck. We need to clear those if we want to see the kind of manifestations that we're talking about.
When you do your work with the Monroe Institute, and just a little plug for this, what is that like? What does that entail? Because you're one of the top trainers.
We see people from all over the world come, and the technology Monroe uses is you put headphones on your head and you listen, and the really cool thing about it to me is there's no dogma. People come that are Republicans, Democrats, atheists, Buddhist monks, Christian fundamentalists, all kinds of folks. And it tends to empower people to get, first to be able to relax, then to expand their energy, and then to move into real strong contact with the Creator or Divine or guidance or wherever they're visualizing contacting. That's a non-physical, non-ordinary consciousness. And so it's usually a very joyful week. People are very excited to get there. Some people have saved for a decade to get up there. It's a wonderful spiritual refreshment. It's kind of a little bit like your idea, because it is in a very beautiful nature setting in the mountains of Virginia, and the food's great. People take great care of you. One of the hardest parts is getting people to go to sleep at night, because they meet so many fascinating people. They want to stay up all night talking, without getting any sleep.
Like camp.
Yes.
And that part of it, I think, though, is that unique element that everybody's there with a common purpose. And it's not to do anything special. It's just to become more connected to their own inner sense of presence.
Yes, they do have some workshops that have a particular topic, such as being able to experience the wisdom from a near-death experience without having to have one, or have an out-of-body experience, or to learn how to do energy healing, different things. But once up there, no matter what reason you went, we've learned over time pretty much anything can happen that your spirit would like to have happen for you. So people may come with one goal and find not only do they meet that, but they have other experiences they couldn't have even imagined that are really, really valuable to them.
There's another book you wrote about, Brothers Forever, An Unexpected Journey Beyond Death. There's this other element when we get into that expanded sense of being, and once you start going to learning more about the Monroe programs and classes, there's this other element that comes into play that is your spirit sense, that light body, that other essence of personality or of soul or of presence that I think you might have touched on talking about that in Brothers Forever. Does that make sense?
Yes, so to let people know that I wrote that book after my brother Pete, who is a beloved, best friend as well, committed suicide. And he was hardworking, handsome, intelligent, honest, everything in place. And it really caused me to wonder, why could bad things happen to a good person, basically? And we looked at it and really felt like you have to also feel deserving of goodness and trust that goodness is around you for things to come to you from the good. It's interesting you mentioned the book, because my next project now is to revise the book. The new revision will cover what's happened to him on the other side, as well as what it's stimulated for me to do here in this type of work that we're talking about today, creating abundance, creating joy in your life.
Dr. Joe Gallenberger. Continuing with Joe Gallenberger.
I wrote the book to help others, of course, but it was a way for me to go through what I'd call an enlightened grieving.
Brothers Forever, An Unexpected Journey Beyond Death.
And to give you an idea, Wendy, within that, I felt like my heart was shattered. And then I realized that, that's just a belief system of a broken heart. Our heart really doesn't break physically into pieces. And I changed my image to a ocean heart, where my heart is like a vast ocean of love. And if you come into my life, it's like putting a hand in water. You're fully enveloped. And then if you left, the water goes back to complete, perhaps losing a drop. And with that image, I've gone through the death of my mother and father and looked at many problems with world suffering and been able to hold my peaceful center and my open-heartedness, even though around you there's this experience that most people would call negative.
It's grief. It's my most profound experiences, even though I was incredibly attached to my grandmother, and she came to me after death and gave me a song that I never would have known that was important to her. She wanted it played at her funeral, and I'm like, what the heck? And I found out later that, yes, she was a huge fan of this person, and this song fit my grandmother to a T. And that hurt when she came to me and gave me that song, all that little thing that was in my stomach, that pocket of pain, it just dissolved. It dissolved with that moment. And that was one of those things where she just, wow. But with HemiSync, you're able to trigger that in ways that aren't accessible just sometimes, just thinking about it or just being stuck in that emotion.
Yeah, so this technology of meditation we're calling HemiSync or binaural beat, even after getting the news of my brother's suicide, I had to call my folks and tell them. It's a tough phone call. Right after that, I laid down and listened to one of these meditations for a half hour, and even in that highly agitated state, was able to relax and felt some angelic consolation. And my wife at the time and myself flew up for the funeral and things, and our better mood extended to the rest of the family that was suffering, and I think just helped the general grief ease a bit. And so it can be a very powerful thing, HemiSync. It doesn't make you do anything, but if your intention is to expand and to touch with guidance, to open your heart, to relax, whatever it might be, it can help encourage your brain to go into the right brainwave pattern to support what you're wanting. And so that's pretty simple but pretty profound.
What I have sensed and at least recently last night, listening to your stuff, all the pets came into the room and the cat got on top of me. So I thought, okay, whatever's going on here must be a really good pet magnet.
Yes, it is. When I give workshops in people's living rooms sometimes, usually cats particularly will disappear, with strangers in the house. And instead they all come out. They love the vibe of the meditation.
Yeah. Okay. This was a slam dunk. Absolutely. They could feel, they could sense that. And it was a very positive thing. When you're working with your Sing creation process, because you do these home study process, what's that? What is that about?
After doing the Vegas work for many years, we wanted to bring that into an even deeper level. So I developed a program called MC Squared up in Monroe Institute, where not only rolling dice and patterns was focused on, but also this bending metal with your mind, growing seeds, and we could see root growth in about 3 minutes of about 1.5 inches long. Different tasks like that, working with healing circles because this energy is great for healing. Then we took all of that workshop experience. It's a week-long workshop, and that became the content for the home study course, Sync, like in Synchronize, SYNC, and then the word creation, Sync creation. And so it comes with individual coaching sessions, a 100-page workbook on all these PK tasks and healing exercises, and it has its own custom meditation CDs. It's been around for at least a decade. Over 1,000 people have bought them, and we get really good reviews that it moves people into being able to do whatever they'd like to manifest. That might be starting a new business or finding a soulmate or engaging in healing, across-the-board type of stuff.
You wrote that book, Liquid Luck, and in there is some manifestation advice. Is there something that's one-size-fits-all universal that, is less than 3 minutes in terms of life-changing that you have seen results from in your past years of sharing this information?
Well, I got a sign I can look at right now. It's on my wall that I put into wood because it's an important phrase for me. And so I look at this many, many times a day, and it says, fear is expensive. Love is priceless. Choose wisely. And so if you can operate out of that today, including buying lottery tickets, but everybody you meet, treat them with love, realize you're in miracle space all the time. Look at the miracle of the human hand right in front of you. And so if miracles seem more normal to you, then it'll be easier to say, okay, and now I would like the miracle of whatever is the cherry on top of your sundae now, of abundance. So that miracle might be for healing today. It might be for more financial abundance, for meeting the right person to help you fulfill a dream, whatever miracle might be coming your way. But to feel you're already in miracle space and to realize that choosing love over fear is a very powerful thing to do. Those kind of things, I think, would be good advice to live by.
All right. And now going back to your project that's in the works, redoing the book.
Yes. So when my brother died, as I mentioned, he was a very powerful guy. He would light up a room when he came in, but he struggled his whole life to find work. And it was quite not understandable unless you looked at it from a spiritual place where he was suspicious of having any personal power. So on the other side, when I connected with him right after his death, there was a good sense of humor. His big thing he sent back was a big sign like a gavel with a slash line through it in a circle. No judgment. He found only compassion over there. And over these years, he's experienced some wistfulness, knowing what he knows now, that he could have done differently. But he's about ready to choose another incarnation at this point, as we were checking in with him in the last few weeks. So that's what he's been doing, and the book will talk about how suicide in general is treated over there. There's several different levels, if you will, of healing that go on for people, depending on how much work they need, if you will. And then on this side, he stimulated for me all this work for the last few decades on what is abundance creation, what can be in the way of creating and fulfilling your life. And so I'll talk a little bit about, the trip I've been on for the 20 years and what he's been doing over there.
Well, does it sound like in some way that he's been able to help you advance just through this particular drama, through this role, that it's also given you as a catalyst to try some things or do some things, expand your work in a way you hadn't anticipated?
Definitely. And, he expressed great appreciation for my support while he was here. And he's watched me. Here's one that's kind of weird for you. I was doing a Monroe program a year or two after his death, and he used to smoke cigarettes. And a woman in meditation all of a sudden smelled cigarette smoke around her, and she didn't know anything about it, but she asked what it was about, and it turned out my brother Pete came to her and said, I'd like to take this Monroe program called Gateway with you from the side of spirit, if you would give me your permission. So he went to Monroe Institute as spirit, and to learn what he could learn, even learning from the other side, if you will. So that was kind of fun.
Does that happen much? I mean, does he share it? Has he got buddies over there who are doing this?
I'm feeling, from my impression, is like there's lots of different ways guidance is delivered, and there's a lot of things that involve what we could call a classroom type of situation, where a person can kind of look at what they did do and how they could have done things differently, the results, how they would be if they were done differently, all done with great compassion. And so there seems to be lots of learning going on over there for many of the folks who are on the other side.
Now, this is personal. Has he given you, does he give anybody timelines? Does he know that information?
I'm not sure what you mean by timeline.
Okay. Do you know how long you're going to be here?
I've never asked. There has been, when there's concerns on people's part of say, being able to be around to see their grandchildren or whatever, that often people will get messages like, don't worry about that. The plan is for you to be here a long time. But there always is free will, and so things can get complicated there. But I've never asked that question. I have a feeling I'm going to be here a good while.
Well, I didn't want to be morbid, but, there's other information from that vantage point that, we could take it personal or not. But I think it's fascinating. And some things we're not supposed to know. And I haven't asked about mine either, but I just thought since you had his ear and you guys are connected, there might be another angle on this.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I'm so blessed. I'm ready to stay. I'm ready to go.
Okay, well, there are a whole lot of people who don't want you to go just yet because there's a lot of winning to be had. And Vegas,
right.
There's still people who are ready to take the trip. Did you say, 77?
Yes, Vegas Adventures. That's what we've done so far.
All right, now we're going to go to the book here, Creating Abundance and Miracles. You've got PK tips.
Yep. I'll give you a little idea, in the Liquid Luck meditation, and the CD came off of the meditation with all the stories of success. I basically have people imagine once in a meditative state a vial of golden, beautiful liquid, and into that putting in happiness, feelings of abundance, joy, compassion, feeling praise for the universe, and feeling lucky, and then imagine taking a drink. And within hours of that exercise being out, people reported winning lotto tickets and selling houses in an hour that have been on the market for months and things like that. So I personally, if I were going into the lottery office today, I would have a drink of Liquid Luck. And even if you
I have
don't
a friend
CD,
who did that.
just have that image of filling yourself to overflowing with good feelings as you walk in. And then pick some numbers intuitively and have some fun, But you take it easy within whatever financial state you are. This is supposed to be fun.
Well, that part of it, too, is there's more than just money attached to this abundance and luck. There are friendships. There's a feeling of confidence, of security, of contentment that comes with feeling just better about who you are, and that the love that you have, you can self-generate to feel more as if when you dealt with your brother, more empowered and more trusting of the moment, and less, I guess, there's less self-recrimination because you're saying, I am so fortunate to be here, and there's always a potential that I can experience a better moment, a better now, if I just allow myself to let go of all the judgment, let go of all the put-downs, all the negatives, and say, hey, that was then, I am now.
Each day is really a new gift if we can let go. The Buddhists talk a lot about that, of cause of suffering is grasping, and you have to learn the art of dying to each day to what is no longer serving you.
I think what you call it is ego. Just, saying soften the ego. Don't erase it, but just soften that instead of.
We don't want it to kill it, but we don't want it to be dictator of our lives. We want to have a strong connection with our own heart and using that energy for intuition, for seeing what we really want, where we really want to put our energy. There's great wisdom in the heart.
Dr. Joe Gallenberger, manifesting what you want in your life. Liquid Luck and Inner Vegas. And check out the blog at singcreation.com.
It's funny, I have talked to several major lottery winners, and the first step is they don't believe it, and they have to look at the number over and over, and then when they tell their spouse, the spouse gets mad because they think they're kidding. They have to come down, and they show them on the computer, and then the wife says, you must go into a fake site or something to make this, and it takes them a while to convince that actually has happened.
That's hilarious. There's that moment of just complete, sheer, dumbfounded, what?
Yep, and they come and say they don't sleep very well for a few months, and the excitement is so great, and then things normalize in about 6 months. Most of themselves are the same, and depending on what they do, now they have some options they didn't before. And I actually have not met anybody who used the money badly. I know one person who used it to do lots of good for other people, and also by his own investing probably has tripled his lottery winnings in the 10 years since. The couple I mentioned before took it as a annuity, so I think they get something like $700,000-800,000 a year for 30 years. They do trips for the whole family around the world and engage in charity and all kinds of fun things. But they do have lottery support groups, so if it's rough on you, Wendy, tomorrow you can call up and find a lottery support group.
Well, you know what? I got plans. If I were to do that, first I go to Hawaii. Okay. That would be my first thing. And then, and of course, they say pay yourself first, so it goes in an annuity or something like that. But there's some elephants that I think I could help with that project where they're going through their retirement, maybe upgrade their abode. And there are some gorillas and some monkeys. There's the money. But yeah, first I'd have to go to Hawaii and feel the ocean and see the sea breeze. And then I would be good to go being a philanthropist.
Sounds like a good plan. And but I am going to nag you, even if you don't win. Go to Hawaii anyway, if there's any way you can.
I know. Yeah,
like your heart wants that.
That would be my luck in a bottle there. I just, even thinking about it, it just gives me joy. So it's like, that's why I haven't gone, because I just have to think about it. I'm in that moment of, wow, aloha, aloha.
I know this person who's an artist, and both her parents were dying, and she was exhausted taking care of them. And she said, just if I could get a month in Hawaii to recharge. And so she went and bought a little bikini, put on the suntan lotion, looked at herself in the mirror every night, and within 2 weeks she had a free 1 month in Hawaii, beautiful place to stay, car provided, etc. So get your bikini out if that's where you want to go.
Wow. Okay. I hadn't thought of it like that. All right. Yeah, because that's one of those things that you just keep putting off sometimes. Yeah, Matt
we had the good fortune to go last December, my wife and I, and watch the whales breaching, and we were at Maui, and it was a wonderful, wonderful experience.
Syncreation, that's the website, syncreation.com. Dr. Joe Gallenberger is your resource for abundance. You can check out the book Liquid Luck. You can check out The Abundant Heart and The Healing Heart. And I will tell you from experience, just getting in that moment and feeling it is a wonderful experience, because you relax, you let go. When the pets come in and tell you that you feel good, you know something more is happening, but is in your energetic space that then makes you a magnet for good energy. Again, Dr. Joe Gallenberger. Links are in the description for the show. Thanks for listening.